The email was still open on Diana's laptop when I walked into our bedroom at 2:47 a.m. She'd left it there, glowing in the darkness like a confession she was too stupid or too arrogant to hide properly. Can't wait to see you again. The deposit went through for the resort. 2 weeks in paradise, just like we planned. Love you, baby. R. I stood there in my boxers and undershirt, fresh from the bathroom, staring at those words until they burned themselves into my brain. My wife of 12 years. The woman who'd sworn before God and 200 guests that she'd be faithful. The woman who'd cried at our wedding and told me I was her everything. The woman who was draining our joint savings account to fund a romantic getaway with someone named R. I didn't wake her. I didn't scream or throw things or do any of the dramatic bullshit you see in movies. Instead, I took a photo of the screen with my phone, closed the laptop exactly as I'd found it, and went back to bed. Diana was snoring softly, her face peaceful in the dim light filtering through the curtains. She looked innocent. She looked like the woman I'd married. She looked like a goddamn liar. My name is Henry Donovan, and I'm 43 years old. I work as a systems integration manager at a mid-sized tech firm called Apex Solutions. It's the kind of job that sounds impressive at cocktail parties, but is actually just middle management hell dressed up in Silicon Valley terminology. I oversee a team of 8 people who implement software solutions for clients who rarely know what they actually want. It pays well enough. It's stable. It's boring as hell. Diana was my everything. She's a pharmaceutical sales rep, the kind of woman who can charm a room full of skeptical doctors into prescribing whatever drug her company is pushing that quarter. She's beautiful in that calculated way that takes 2 hours of prep work to look effortlessly gorgeous. Blonde hair, green eyes, a smile that could sell ice to penguins. When we got married, I thought I'd won the lottery. Now I knew I'd just bought a ticket to my own personal hell. I lay there in the dark, listening to her breathe, and felt something cold settle into my chest. Not anger, not yet. Just this crystalline clarity, this perfect understanding that everything I'd believed about my life was a lie. How long had it been going on? Who the hell was R, and how much of our money had she already stolen? The questions circled in my head like vultures, but I didn't move. I'd learned a long time ago in the corporate world that the person who keeps their cool wins, the person who plans, who thinks 3 moves ahead, who doesn't react emotionally, that person comes out on top. So I waited. The next morning, Diana was her usual self. She kissed me on the cheek while I made coffee, asked about my day, chatted about some meaningless drama with her friend Tiffany. She was wearing a cream-colored blouse and gray slacks, her work uniform, and she looked so normal it made my stomach turn. "I've got that conference in 2 weeks," she said, buttering her toast. "The pharmaceutical summit in Miami, remember? I mentioned it last month." "Right," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "Miami. It's Tuesday through Thursday, but I'll probably stay through Saturday. Network, make some connections." She smiled at me, that practiced, perfect smile. "You'll be okay here by yourself?" "I always am," I said. She didn't catch the edge in my voice. Or maybe she did and just didn't care. She kissed me again, grabbed her purse, and headed out the door. I watched her BMW pull out of the driveway, and then I got to work. Diana thought I was just some middle management drone who couldn't find his own ass with both hands and a map. What she didn't know was that I'd spent the last 15 years managing complex IT systems and troubleshooting problems that required meticulous attention to detail. I knew how to dig, I knew how to find information, and I knew how to cover my tracks. I started with her laptop. She'd logged out of her email by morning, but she was predictable. Her password was our wedding anniversary with an exclamation point at the end. Took me 3 tries. Once I was in, I had everything. Caleb Castellano. That was R, her college boyfriend, the one she'd dated for 2 years before we met. They'd reconnected 6 months ago at their 15-year reunion, an event I'd skipped because I'd been in Seattle for a week-long conference. According to their email chain, it had started innocently enough. Old friends catching up. Then it had turned into late-night phone calls, then coffee dates, then hotel rooms. The emails were explicit, detailed. Diana wrote things to Caleb that she hadn't said to me in years. She talked about how alive he made her feel, how their connection was something special, how she'd made a mistake marrying me. That last part was in an email dated 3 weeks ago. I think I settled, Caleb. Henry is safe and stable, but he's not you. He doesn't make my heart race. He doesn't challenge me. Sometimes I look at him and wonder what I was thinking. I sat at her desk, reading those words over and over, and felt the last piece of affection I had for Diana Donovan crumble into dust. She didn't just betray me. She looked down on me. She thought she was better than me. That was her first mistake. I kept digging. The bank statements showed withdrawals of $3,500 over the past 3 months. Small enough not to trigger any alerts, but large enough to add up. She'd deposited the money into a personal account I didn't know she had. The resort in Miami was actually in the Bahamas. Paradise Cove Resort. Adults only, couples packages. She'd booked the premium suite with the private beach access. The flight was in 13 days. American Airlines, direct from LaGuardia to Nassau, departure at 9:15 a.m. She'd booked 2 seats, seat 12A and 12B. I screenshotted everything, every email, every receipt, every bank statement. I uploaded it all to an encrypted cloud drive and deleted the browsing history from her laptop. Then I went to work like nothing had happened. The next 2 weeks were the most surreal of my life. Diana went through her normal routine, completely oblivious. She kept mentioning the conference, complained about work, and tried to get close to me a couple of times. I went through the motions, playing the role of the oblivious husband, all while planning my next move. I called in sick on the day of her flight. Diana left for the airport at 6:30 a.m., her luggage stuffed with new clothes she'd charged to our credit card. She kissed me goodbye and told me she loved me. I told her to have a safe trip. Then I got in my car and followed her. LaGuardia was packed. I parked in the short-term lot and made my way to the American Airlines terminal. Diana was at the check-in counter, and next to her was Caleb Castellano. He was tall, athletic, the kind of guy who probably still played recreational softball and bragged about his college glory days. He had his arm around Diana's waist, and they were laughing about something. They looked happy. They looked like a couple. I waited until they'd cleared security. Then I bought a same-day ticket on a different airline. I wasn't following them to the Bahamas. I just needed to get past security. I needed to see them together with my own eyes, to confirm what I already knew. I found them at their gate, sitting close together, Diana's head on Caleb's shoulder. They were drinking overpriced airport coffee and looking at something on his phone. Probably pictures of the resort. Probably imagining their romantic getaway funded by my money. I walked right up to them. "Diana," I said. She looked up and the color drained from her face. Caleb looked confused, then alarmed as he registered who I was. Diana stood up so fast she knocked over her coffee. "Henry," she stammered. What are you doing here?" "Funny question," I said. My voice was calm, controlled. I could feel eyes on us, other passengers watching the scene unfold. "I could ask you the same thing. Thought you were going to Miami for a conference." This isn't," she started, but I held up my hand. "Save it," I said. "I know everything, Diana. The emails, the money, the resort in Nassau, all of it." Caleb stood up, trying to look tough. "Listen, man, we can explain." "I'm not talking to you," I said, not even looking at him. I kept my eyes on Diana. "I'm talking to my wife, or should I say, my soon-to-be ex-wife." Diana's eyes filled with tears, actual tears, like she was the victim here. "Henry, please, let me explain. This isn't what you think." It's exactly what I think, I said. You've been screwing your college boyfriend for 6 months. You've been stealing from our joint account to fund your little affair. And you've been lying to my face every single day. People were definitely watching now. An older woman was recording us on her phone. Perfect. I love him, Diana said, and there was this defiant edge to her voice, like she thought that justified everything. I'm sorry, Henry, but I do. Caleb and I, we have something real. Something real, I repeated. Built on lies and stolen money. That's real, all right, real pathetic. Caleb stepped forward, and I could see he was calculating whether to take a swing at me. I almost wanted him to, but he was smarter than that. Too many witnesses, too many cameras. Look, he said, we didn't mean for it to happen this way, but people grow apart. You and Diana, you're not right for each other. She deserves to be happy. And you deserve to be with a woman who's willing to betray her marriage vows and commit theft, I said. Perfect match. Diana grabbed my arm. Henry, please don't do this here. Can we just talk? I pulled my arm away. We're done talking. When you get back from your vacation, which you're welcome to enjoy, by the way, you'll find that I've frozen all our joint accounts, filed for divorce, and changed the locks on the house. Your stuff will be in storage. You'll get the details from my lawyer. You can't do that, she said. And now the tears were real, panic settling in. Watch me, I said. I looked at Caleb. Enjoy the trip. The resort looks nice. I should know. I looked at the pictures. On my laptop. That I paid for. Using money from the job I work while my wife fucks around behind my back. I turned and walked away. Behind me, I could hear Diana calling my name, her voice cracking. I didn't look back. I'd seen everything I needed to see. The confrontation had taken less than 5 minutes, but it felt like a lifetime. My hands were shaking as I walked back through security, but inside, I felt cold and focused. The anger would come later. Right now, I had work to do. I didn't go home. Instead, I drove straight to the law offices of Mitchell & Associates, a firm I'd researched extensively over the past week. Patricia Mitchell was a divorce attorney with a reputation for being ruthless and meticulous. She cost $450 an hour, but you got what you paid for. Mr. Donovan, she said, shaking my hand in her corner office overlooking downtown. She was in her 50s, sharp-eyed, with gray hair cut in a severe bob. You said on the phone this was urgent. My wife is currently on a plane to Nassau with her boyfriend, I said. They're using money she stole from our joint account. I have documentation of everything, the affair, the theft, all of it. Patricia's expression didn't change, but I saw a flicker of interest in her eyes. Show me what you have. I spent the next hour walking her through everything. The emails, the bank statements, the flight records, the photos I'd taken at the airport. Patricia took notes, asked pointed questions, and occasionally nodded. This is good, she said finally. Very good. The theft alone gives us leverage. New York is an equitable distribution state, but given the circumstances, we can argue for a favorable division of assets. The fact that she used marital funds to support her affair works strongly in your favor. I want the house, I said, and I want her to get nothing, not a dime. Patricia leaned back in her chair. I understand you're angry, Mr. Donovan, and you have every right to be. But we need to be realistic. New York doesn't recognize adultery as grounds for unequal distribution unless there's significant waste of marital assets. What we can do is ensure you keep the house, protect your retirement accounts, and hold her accountable for the money she took. What about alimony? I asked. Given that you earn similar incomes and there are no children, alimony is unlikely. That works in your favor. She smiled thinly. We'll file first thing Monday morning. I'll also draft an order to freeze the joint accounts. You'll want to open a new personal account immediately and transfer your direct deposit. Already done, I said. Patricia looked impressed. You came prepared. I like that. One more thing. Do you have somewhere to stay for the next few days? Once she finds out about the accounts being frozen and the locks being changed, she may try to return early. I'll be at the house, I said. It's my house. I'm not leaving. Fair enough. But I'd advise installing security cameras. If she shows up and causes a scene, we want documentation. I left Patricia's office with a stack of documents to sign and a court date scheduled for the following month. The freeze on our accounts would go into effect Monday morning. Diana would be in the Bahamas when it hit, probably sitting by the pool with Caleb, completely unaware that her world was about to collapse. The thought made me smile for the first time in days. Diana called me 17 times on Sunday night. I didn't answer. She left voicemails that ranged from apologetic to angry to desperate. By Monday morning, she'd figured out the accounts were frozen. The texts started coming in rapid-fire succession. What did you do? Henry, answer your phone. I can't access any of our accounts. This is illegal. You can't just freeze me out. We need to talk about this like adults. You're being childish. Answer your phone. I blocked her number. Then I blocked Caleb's number when he started calling too. Let them stew in paradise with no access to funds. Let them figure out how to pay for that premium suite. On Tuesday, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Henry Donovan? I said. Mr. Donovan, this is Detective Tiffany Brennan with the Nassau Police Department. I'm calling regarding an incident report filed by your wife, Diana Donovan. A chill ran through me. What kind of incident? Mrs. Donovan claims you've engaged in financial abuse and illegal conduct by freezing her access to marital funds. She's also made allegations that you've threatened her. That's complete bullshit, I said, then caught myself. I'm sorry, Detective, but none of that is true. I filed for divorce after discovering my wife's affair, and my attorney advised me to freeze our joint accounts to prevent further unauthorized withdrawals. As for threats, I've made none. I have witnesses to our last conversation, which took place at La Guaraga Airport on Friday morning. There was a pause. Sir, are you represented by counsel? I am. Patricia Mitchell of Mitchell & Associates. I see. Well, Mr. Donovan, I'm required to follow up on reports like this. Do you have documentation of the divorce filing? I can have my attorney send it to you within the hour. That would be helpful. Mrs. Donovan is quite insistent that you've committed financial crimes. She's threatening to file charges when she returns to New York. Let her try, I said. Everything I've done has been on the advice of my attorney and is completely legal. And Detective, you might want to look into the unauthorized withdrawals from our joint account over the past 3 months. My attorney has documentation of that as well. Another pause. I'll make a note of that. Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Donovan. She hung up. I immediately called Patricia, who assured me that Diana had no legal ground to stand on and that threatening to file false charges would only make her look worse in divorce proceedings. She's desperate, Patricia said. Desperate people make stupid mistakes. Let her. Diana and Caleb returned to New York on Thursday, 3 days early. I knew because she showed up at the house at 11 p.m., pounding on the door and screaming my name. I'd had security cameras installed earlier that week, so I watched her from my phone as she lost her mind on our front porch. Henry, open this door. This is my house too. I called the police. The officers who arrived were professional and detached. They explained to Diana that since I'd filed for divorce and she'd been served papers, she couldn't force entry into the marital home without a court order. Diana tried to play the victim, crying and claiming I'd locked her out with nowhere to go. Ma'am, do you have other accommodations available? One officer asked. That's not the point, Diana shrieked. This is my house. He can't just kick me out. Actually, ma'am, he can. This is a legal matter that needs to be resolved in divorce court. For tonight, I'd suggest staying with family or friends. Diana looked directly at the camera I'd installed over the door. Her face was twisted with rage, mascara running down her cheeks. You're going to regret this, Henry. I'll make sure you regret this." The officers escorted her off the property. I watched her drive away in her BMW, which I made a note to inform my attorney was purchased primarily with my income, and felt absolutely nothing. The next 2 weeks were a war of attrition. Diana hired her own lawyer, some bottom feeder named Gregory Post, who sent aggressive letters threatening litigation for unlawful eviction, emotional distress, and financial abuse. Patricia responded with documentation of Diana's theft and infidelity, along with screenshots of the threatening messages Diana had sent me before I blocked her. Then, Diana made her stupidest move yet. She filed a police report claiming I'd stolen her jewelry. According to her statement, I'd broken into her personal safe and taken $15,000 worth of jewelry that she'd inherited from her grandmother. She had receipts, photos, the whole thing. There was just one problem. I'd never touched her jewelry. She'd taken it all with her when she left for the Bahamas. I had security footage of her loading it into her suitcase. The police came to interview me on a Thursday morning. Detective Mike Torres was in his 40s, tired-looking, clearly annoyed to be dealing with what was obviously a domestic dispute. "Mr. Donovan, do you have access to your wife's personal safe?" he asked. "I did," I said, "but I haven't touched it. My security cameras will show that no one has entered or left this house except me since Diana left for her trip to the Bahamas." "May I see that footage?" I showed him 2 weeks of footage. Me coming and going, me getting deliveries, me never going into Diana's closet where the safe was located. Detective Torres sighed. "Sir, do you mind if I check the safe?" "Be my guest." We went upstairs. Diana's closet was exactly as she'd left it, minus the jewelry. The safe was open and empty. I'd known that because I'd checked it myself after she filed the report. "She took everything with her," I said. "She can't file a false report claiming I stole something she still has." Torres looked at me for a long moment. "Mr. Donovan, this is a messy divorce." "Yes, it is. Your wife is making serious allegations, false allegations from what I can see." "Yes, she is." "That's a crime. Filing a false police report, I could charge her." "I'll leave that to your discretion, detective, but I will be providing this footage to my attorney for use in divorce proceedings." Torres nodded slowly. "Smart. Look, off the record, I've seen cases like this before. Someone gets backed into a corner, they start lashing out. Your wife is in a bad spot. She's going to keep making things worse for herself." "I know," I said. "I'm counting on it." He gave me a look I couldn't quite read, part sympathy, part warning. "Just be careful, Mr. Donovan. People in bad spots do desperate things." After he left, I called Patricia and sent her the footage. She was delighted. "This is gold," she said. "False police reports show a pattern of malicious behavior. It completely undermines her credibility. I'll file a motion to compel her to produce the jewelry she claims was stolen. When she can't, we'll use it to argue for sanctions." "What about criminal charges?" I asked. "That's up to the district attorney's office, but Torres will submit his report and they'll review it. At minimum, it'll be on record that she lied to police. That's powerful in divorce proceedings." Diana's credibility was crumbling, but she wasn't done yet. She started calling my friends, my colleagues, anyone who would listen. She told them I was abusive, controlling, that I'd driven her into Caleb's arms with my emotional neglect. She posted vague messages on social media about toxic relationships and finding the courage to leave. The problem was, my friends weren't idiots. Jake, my best friend since college, called me after Diana tried to enlist him to her side. "Dude," he said, "your wife just spent 20 minutes telling me you're an emotionally abusive monster who isolated her from her friends. And I reminded her that you've been encouraging her to maintain her friendships for years, and she's the one who stopped calling people because she was too busy with work." He paused. "She really cheated on you?" 6 months. College boyfriend. She used our money to fund a vacation with him." "Jesus, I'm sorry, man." "Don't be. I'm handling it. I can see that. Listen, she's calling everyone we know, trying to control the narrative. You might want to get ahead of it." "Way ahead of you," I said. That night, I posted a single message on social media. It was carefully worded, reviewed by Patricia beforehand. "It's come to my attention that false statements are being made about me and my character during this difficult time. While I prefer to keep private matters private, I want my friends and colleagues to know that I'm going through a divorce after discovering my wife's infidelity. I have documentation of everything, and the truth will come out in court. I appreciate your support and ask that you respect my privacy as I navigate this situation." I didn't name Diana. I didn't have to. Everyone knew. Within hours, I had dozens of messages of support. People who'd known us as a couple reached out, saying they'd suspected something was off. Diana's friends, her real friends, not just social media connections, started distancing themselves. The narrative was shifting. Diana was no longer the victim. She was the cheater, the liar, the woman who'd destroyed her own marriage and was now trying to destroy her husband's reputation to cover her tracks. It was beautiful to watch. The court date arrived on a cold Tuesday in November. The courthouse was downtown, a grim building with fluorescent lights and the smell of stale coffee. Patricia met me outside, looking crisp and professional in a navy suit. "Ready?" she asked. "More than ready." Diana was already inside with Gregory Post. She'd dressed carefully, conservative dress, minimal makeup, trying to look sympathetic. When she saw me, her expression cycled through several emotions: anger, fear, something that might have been regret. I felt nothing. The hearing was in front of Judge Margaret Kowalski, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s who'd been on the bench for 20 years. She looked over the filings with the expression of someone who'd seen every variation of human stupidity and was unimpressed by all of it. "This is a divorce proceeding with contested asset division," she said. "I've reviewed both parties' submissions. Mr. Post, your client has made several serious allegations against Mr. Donovan. Let's start with those." Gregory Post stood up. He was in his 50s, overweight, with the kind of cheap suit that screamed, "I lose cases." "Your Honor, my client has been subjected to financial abuse and emotional manipulation. Mr. Donovan froze her access to marital funds without warning, changed the locks on the marital home, and has engaged in a campaign of harassment and intimidation." "Ms. Mitchell?" the judge said. Patricia stood. "Your Honor, Mr. Donovan froze the joint accounts after discovering that Mrs. Donovan had made unauthorized withdrawals totaling $3,500 to fund an extramarital affair. We have documentation of the affair, the withdrawals, and Mrs. Donovan's use of marital funds for personal benefit. As for changing the locks, Mr. Donovan was well within his rights to secure the marital home, which is solely in his name. Mrs. Donovan was served with proper notice and has had access to her personal belongings." "Your Honor," Post interjected, "Mrs. Donovan has nowhere to stay. She's been effectively made homeless by Mr. Donovan's actions." "She's staying with Mr. Castellano," Patricia said dryly. "Her paramour, who, I might add, she spent 2 weeks with in the Bahamas using stolen marital funds." Judge Kowalski held up a hand. "I've read the submissions. Mrs. Donovan, did you or did you not withdraw funds from the joint account for personal use?" Diana stood up, looking small and scared. "Your Honor, I made some withdrawals, yes. But it was my money too. I have a right to access our accounts." "For the purpose of funding an extramarital affair?" Diana's face went red. "That's not, yes, I was seeing someone, but Henry and I were already having problems. I needed to—" "Answer the question, Mrs. Donovan. Did you use marital funds to support an extramarital relationship?" "Yes," Diana whispered. "And did you attempt to conceal this from your husband?" "Yes." Judge Kowalski made a note. "Mr. Post, your client also filed a police report alleging theft of personal property. What's the status of that report?" Post shuffled his papers. "The matter is still under investigation, Your Honor." "No, it's not," Patricia said. Detective Torres closed the case after reviewing security footage that proved Mrs. Donovan removed the jewelry herself before leaving for her trip. She filed a false police report in an attempt to harass Mr. Donovan. We've submitted the footage as evidence. The judge looked at Diana with something close to contempt. Mrs. Donovan, did you file a false police report? I was confused, Diana said. I thought Henry had taken my things. I was upset. You filed a specific report with specific allegations and provided receipts for allegedly stolen items that you, in fact, still possess? Diana didn't answer. I'm going to say this once, Judge Kowalski said. I have very little patience for litigants who waste the court's time and law enforcement resources with false allegations. Mrs. Donovan, you are fortunate that the district attorney has declined to press charges. If I see any more evidence of this behavior, I will hold you in contempt. Am I clear? Yes, Your Honor, Diana whispered. Now, as to asset distribution. The marital home is titled solely in Mr. Donovan's name, purchased before the marriage. The joint accounts show roughly equal contributions over the course of the marriage. Mr. Donovan is seeking to retain the home and his retirement accounts. Mrs. Donovan, what are you seeking? Post stood again. Your Honor, my client is seeking half the home's equity, half of all retirement accounts, and compensatory damages for emotional distress. On what grounds? Mrs. Donovan contributed to the marriage for 12 years. She's entitled to equitable distribution. Even after committing theft and adultery? Adultery isn't grounds for unequal distribution in New York, Your Honor. No, Judge Kowalski said. But theft is. Ms. Mitchell, what's your proposal? Mr. Donovan retains the home, which he purchased before the marriage, and has maintained solely. The joint accounts are divided equally, minus the $3,500 Mrs. Donovan stole, which will be deducted from her share. Retirement accounts remain separate, as they were before the marriage. No alimony, given equal earning capacity, and Mrs. Donovan's misconduct. Your Honor, that's unreasonable, Post protested. No, the judge said. It's fair. Mrs. Donovan, you engaged in behavior that directly harmed the marital estate. You stole money, filed false police reports, and attempted to manipulate these proceedings. You're lucky you're getting anything at all. I'm granting Ms. Mitchell's proposal in full. This divorce is granted. You have 30 days to remove any remaining personal property from the marital home. This court is adjourned. Diana burst into tears. Post tried to argue, but the judge was already standing, done with us. Patricia gathered her files, looking satisfied. That went well, she said as we left the courtroom. Better than I expected. Judge Kowalski doesn't tolerate fraud. Diana's lies caught up with her. Patricia shook my hand. Congratulations, Mr. Donovan. You're officially divorced and significantly wealthier for it. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I just felt tired. Diana tried to contact me twice after the hearing. I didn't respond. She sent a long email explaining that she'd made mistakes, that she still cared about me, that maybe we could be friends someday. I deleted it without reading the whole thing. But I wasn't done yet. Caleb Castellano worked at a luxury car dealership in Westchester. He sold BMWs and Mercedes to people with more money than sense. According to his social media, which he hadn't bothered to make private, he was very proud of his job, proud of his sales numbers, proud of his expensive suits and his expensive car and his expensive lifestyle. I visited the dealership on a Saturday afternoon. Caleb was on the showroom floor talking to a couple looking at an M5. He saw me and his face went pale. Henry, he said, what are you doing here? Just browsing, I said. Nice place you've got. How's business? Look, man, if you're here to cause trouble, I'm not here to cause anything, I said. Just wanted to see where my wife's boyfriend works. Well, ex-wife now. The divorce was finalized. Caleb glanced at the couple who were watching us with interest. He lowered his voice. Can we talk outside? Sure. We walked out to the parking lot. Caleb's car was a black BMW 7 Series, gleaming in the afternoon sun. Probably cost more than I made in a year. I wondered how much of it was paid for with Diana's money. "What do you want?" Caleb asked. His voice was trying for tough, but I could hear the nervousness underneath. "I want you to understand something," I said. "You and Diana thought you could screw me over. You thought I'd just roll over and take it. You were wrong." "We didn't think anything," Caleb said. "Diana and I fell in love. It happens. You can't help who you love. You can help whether you act on it while one of you is married," I said. "You can help whether you let a married woman drain her joint account to fund your vacation. You made choices, Caleb, bad ones. So what? You going to beat me up? That won't change anything." I laughed. "I'm not going to touch you. I don't have to. See, the thing is, Caleb, I've done my research. You've been at this dealership for 8 years. You've got a good reputation. You're a senior salesman. People trust you. So? So what happens when those people find out you helped a married woman steal from her husband? What happens when your boss finds out? What happens when every customer who walks in can look up your name and see that you're the kind of guy who sleeps with married women and helps them commit theft?" Caleb's face went from pale to red. "You wouldn't." "I already did," I said. "I posted a review on every site I could find, mentioned you by name, explained the whole situation. Very factual, very calm. No threats, no slander, just the truth. You helped my wife steal $3,500 from our joint account to fund your affair. That's a fact, Caleb. I have bank records to prove it." "You bastard!" "I'm not done," I said. "I also sent an email to your manager, attached all the documentation, the emails between you and Diana, the bank records, everything. I explained that one of his employees helped facilitate theft from a married couple. I'm sure he'll be very interested." Caleb took a swing at me. I saw it coming and stepped back. His fist hit air, and he stumbled forward, off balance. I didn't hit back. I just let him catch himself, breathing hard, looking like he wanted to kill me. "Go ahead," I said. "Hit me. Give me another reason to call the police. Add assault to your list of accomplishments." He didn't swing again. He just stood there, shaking with rage. "You ruined my life," he said. "No," I said. "You ruined your own life. You made choices. You knew Diana was married. You knew the money wasn't yours. You did it anyway. Now you get to live with the consequences." I turned to walk away, then stopped. "Oh, and Caleb? Stay away from me. Stay away from my house. If I see you again, if you contact me again, I'll make sure everyone you've ever met knows exactly what kind of person you are. Are we clear?" He didn't answer. I didn't need him to. I got in my car and drove away, watching him in the rearview mirror. He was standing in the parking lot, staring at his expensive car like he was seeing it for the first time. 2 weeks later, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that Caleb had been fired. Something about conduct unbecoming. Something about the dealership not wanting to be associated with that kind of scandal. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel anything. Diana called me one last time in December. It was 11 p.m. on a Friday, and I'd been asleep for about an hour. I saw her name on my phone and almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Hello? Henry." Her voice was rough, like she'd been crying. "I need your help." "No. Please, just listen. Caleb and we broke up. He blamed me for everything, for him losing his job, for ruining his life. He left me with nothing. I'm staying at a motel right now. I don't have anywhere to go." "That's not my problem." "I know you hate me," she said. "I know I deserve it. But I'm desperate, Henry. I need money. Just enough to get back on my feet. A loan. I'll pay you back, I swear." "You stole from me," I said. "You cheated on me. You lied to me for months. You filed false police reports against me. You tried to destroy my reputation. And now you want me to give you money?" "I made mistakes. You made choices," I said. "You chose to cheat. You chose to steal. You chose to lie. Now you get to live with those choices. I'm not your safety net anymore, Diana. I'm not your anything. I loved you, she whispered. Once. I really did. No, I said. You loved what I could give you. Stability, security, money, but you never loved me. If you had, you wouldn't have done what you did. Henry, please, goodbye, Diana. I hung up. She called back 3 more times. I didn't answer. Eventually, she stopped calling. Christmas came and went. I spent it alone, which was fine. I ordered Chinese food and watched old movies and didn't think about Diana at all. Or at least I tried not to. In January, I ran into Tiffany, one of Diana's old friends, at the grocery store. Tiffany had been at our wedding. She'd been at our house for dinner parties. She'd called Diana her best friend. Henry, she said, looking uncomfortable. How are you? I'm fine, I said. You? Good. Listen, I wanted to say, I'm sorry about everything. I had no idea what Diana was doing. None of us did. It's not your fault. I know, but still, we all feel terrible. Diana called me last week. She's living in some apartment in Queens, working at a call center. She sounded awful. I didn't say anything. She asked about you, Tiffany continued. Asked if you were seeing anyone. I told her it wasn't her business anymore. It's not, I agreed. She really messed up her life, Tiffany said. Lost you, lost Caleb, lost her job. The pharmaceutical company let her go after some kind of ethics complaint. I don't know the details. I did. I'd filed the complaint myself. Explained that Diana had been engaging in fraudulent behavior, stealing from family members, filing false police reports. Attached documentation. The pharmaceutical company had a strict ethics policy. They'd terminated her employment within a week. That's unfortunate, I said, my voice neutral. Tiffany gave me a long look. You know, I used to think Diana was the strong one in your marriage. The outgoing one. The one who made things happen. But I was wrong. You're stronger than all of us put it together, Henry. You're just quiet about it. I do what needs to be done, I said. That's an understatement. She smiled sadly. Take care of yourself, Henry. You deserve to be happy. I watched her walk away, pushing her shopping cart down the aisle. She was right. I did deserve to be happy. And I was getting there, slowly. The house was mine. My finances were secure. Diana was out of my life. Caleb was out of my life. I'd won. So why did I still feel empty? February brought the final piece of closure I didn't know I needed. I was at a bar near my office, having a beer with Jake after work. We were talking about nothing important, sports, work, the weather, when Diana walked in. She looked different, thinner. Her hair was darker, pulled back in a simple ponytail. She wore jeans and a faded sweater, no makeup. She looked like a stranger. She saw me and froze. For a long moment, we just stared at each other across the crowded bar. Then she walked over. Henry, she said, can we talk? Jake looked at me. I nodded, and he took his beer to the other end of the bar, giving us space. Diana sat down on the stool next to me. She ordered a vodka tonic from the bartender, her hands shaking slightly. You look good, she said. Happy. I'm doing all right. I heard you got a promotion. Congratulations. Thanks. I had gotten a promotion. Director of Systems Integration. More money, more responsibility, more respect. Turns out, when you're not distracted by a cheating wife, you can actually focus on your career. I wanted to apologize, Diana said. She wasn't looking at me, just staring at her drink. For everything, for the affair, for the lies, for trying to hurt you. You didn't deserve any of it. No, I said. I didn't. I was selfish. I was stupid. I thought I deserved more than what we had. I thought Caleb was some kind of escape from my boring life. She laughed bitterly. Turns out my life was pretty good. I just didn't appreciate it. Is this the part where you ask me to take you back? I asked. No, she said quickly. God, no. I know that's never going to happen. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry, that I regret everything, that I wish I could go back and do things differently. But you can't, I said. No, I can't. She took a long drink. I lost everything, Henry. My job, my friends, my home, Caleb, you, everything I thought mattered, and it's all my fault. Yes, I said. It is. She flinched, but didn't argue. I know you hate me. I don't hate you, I said, and realized it was true. I did, for a while. But now I just don't feel anything for you. You're a stranger who used to be my wife, that's all. Diana's eyes filled with tears. That's worse than hate. Maybe, I said. But it's honest. She finished her drink and stood up. I should go. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, for whatever it's worth. It's worth something, I said. Not much, but something. Diana nodded, wiped her eyes, and walked out of the bar. I watched her go and felt the last piece of anger and hurt drain away. She was gone. Really, truly gone. Not just physically, but emotionally. I didn't care what happened to her anymore. I didn't care if she was happy or sad, successful or struggling. She was just a person I used to know, someone who'd made terrible choices and paid the price. Jake came back over, looking concerned. You okay, man? Yeah, I said. I really am. She looked rough. She's had a rough time. You don't sound very sympathetic. I'm not, I said. She made her bed. She gets to lie in it. Jake raised his beer. To new beginnings. I clinked my bottle against his. To new beginnings. Spring came, and with it a sense of renewal I hadn't expected. The house felt different now, not haunted by memories of Diana, but just mine. I repainted the bedroom, got rid of the furniture we'd picked out together, replaced it with stuff I actually liked. I joined a gym, started running, lost 15 pounds, felt better than I had in years. I went on a few dates, nothing serious. A woman from accounting named Lisa, a friend of Jake's sister named Amy. They were nice, normal, honest. But I wasn't ready for anything serious yet. Maybe I never would be. And that was okay. Work consumed most of my time, which was fine. The promotion came with challenges, but I thrived on them. My team respected me. My boss trusted me. I was building something real, something that mattered, something that was mine. In April, I got a call from Patricia Mitchell. Henry, she said, I thought you'd want to know. Diana filed for bankruptcy. Did she? I said. It wasn't a question. She owes about $40,000 in credit card debt, medical bills, back rent. The court will discharge most of it, but her credit is destroyed for the next 7 years. That's unfortunate, I said. Patricia laughed. You're a terrible liar, Henry. You're pleased. I'm indifferent, I said. Diana's life isn't my concern anymore. Fair enough. Anyway, I wanted to let you know in case she tries to contact you for money. She can't sue you for anything. The divorce decree is final, but desperate people do desperate things. If she contacts me, I'll let you know. Good. Oh, and Henry? Congratulations on moving on. Not everyone manages it as well as you have. After I hung up, I sat at my desk and thought about Diana. About the woman I'd married, full of life and ambition and charm. About the woman she'd become, desperate and broken and alone. About the choices she'd made and the consequences she'd suffered. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel satisfied. I just felt done. That evening, I drove to the cemetery where my parents were buried. I hadn't been there in a while. My mother passed away when I was 30, and my father followed 2 years after. They'd loved Diana, or at least they'd thought they did. They'd been so happy when we got married. I stood at their graves as the sun set, the sky turning purple and gold. I got divorced, I said out loud. Diana cheated on me. I know you liked her, I did too. But she wasn't who we thought she was. The wind rustled through the trees. Somewhere, a bird called. I handled it, I continued. Made sure she couldn't hurt me anymore. Made sure she paid for what she did. You might not approve of how I did it. You always taught me to turn the other cheek, to forgive, to be the bigger person. But I couldn't do that this time. I couldn't let her get away with it. I was quiet for a moment, just standing there. I think I'm okay now, I said. It took a while, but I'm okay. I wanted you to know that. I left the cemetery as the last light faded from the sky, feeling lighter than I had in months. Almost a year after discovering Diana's affair, I ran into Caleb at a coffee shop. He was with a younger woman, confident again. When he saw me, his smile faltered. "Henry," he said. "Caleb." I waited for anger, but felt nothing. He was just a man who'd made bad choices and moved on. "This is Emma," he said. "We have some history." They left soon after. I sat by the window drinking coffee, watching life go on. Diana somewhere starting over, Caleb too. And me? Finally moving forward. The city shimmered with change, new places, new people, and for once, that felt right. I'd gotten my revenge, ruined their lives, and found it hollow, but I was free. 3 months later, my assistant said Diana was here to see me. I almost refused, then agreed. She looked worn, eyes red. "I'm leaving New York," she said, "starting fresh, and I wanted to give you this." A check for $3,500, what she'd taken. It took a year to save. I wanted to make it right. "Keep it," I said. "No, please." I took it, then watched her go. When she was gone, I tore it up. I didn't need her money, her apology, just distance. Back at my desk, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Peace. The price of betrayal had been paid by all of us. But I'd survived, and that was enough.